Thank you for watching The Delco Realtor. I'm your host, Shannon.diiorio, and today I'm talking about some of the main issues we see with properties in our region. Number one is termites. So here in southeastern Pennsylvania and in Delaware, the type of termites that we see are subterranean termites. So these are not, there's in other parts of the country, they have different types of termites that sometimes require, you see them tenting off the houses to do the treatment. We don't see that in our area at all. The treatment is actually fairly easy, quick, and inexpensive to get rid of the subterranean termites. However, what can be problematic is that the damage can sometimes be pretty extensive and the repairs to correct that can be very expensive. So it is important to do a termite inspection whenever possible and not only have them look for active infestation, but look for signs of damage so that that can be addressed and corrected as needed. Number two on the list is radon. So radon is an invisible, odorless gas, naturally comes up from the ground, and is the second leading cause of lung cancer according to the EPA. It's always present at some level, but the EPA says if the level is 4.0 or higher, then it really should be remediated because that's when it becomes a health concern. So a radon test usually consists of putting a test kit in the lowest level of the house, so oftentimes that's the basement, and it sits for 3 to 5 days, and then they come back and we get a reading on the results. If the results are high, it's typically pretty quick, easy, and inexpensive to address. It's a system that gets put in that basically consists of a fan and a pipe, and it takes the radon up and out of the house. And then it gets retested just to make sure that the level was brought down to 4.0 or less. So again, it's usually pretty quick and easy. The cost might be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,500, just depending on the property. And that could vary. Obviously, you would need an estimate for the specific property. But what's important to know is if it's present, right? Like, what is the level? So sometimes it's possible to get that tested as part of the process of purchasing a house, and other times, especially if you're trying to be competitive, you may not elect to go that route, but it's important to still get the property tested for radon, even if it's after closing, so that you can address it, because you want to address it sooner rather than later. It is a health concern. Number three is water intrusion. So here in southeastern Pennsylvania and in Delaware, we have clay soil. It's a very wet area, so we do tend to see a lot of damp basements. It's actually pretty rare to see a completely dry basement, and even when we do, at some point in time, it's kind of inevitable that there's going to be probably some water intrusion. And that's something that's difficult to address as part of the inspection process and the purchase sometimes, because it's not that easy to figure out exactly what's causing the intrusion and how to fix it. Sometimes that takes a while of trial and error, right? So it could be the grading outside. It could be that there's things in the basement that need to be sealed on the floors and the walls and the windows. Could be just that the gutters need to be extended. Could be a multitude of things, but it's just something to keep in mind. I try to tell people not to always automatically be scared off by it. We don't want water coming in the house. We want to address it, but it's common to the area, and there's lots of contractors that will help address those issues. Number four on the list is stucco. So here in our region, sometime, I'm just going to say roughly the 80s, all the way up to maybe 2010-ish. It's the way that stucco was applied over wood framing that somehow just allows a lot of moisture to get behind the stucco, and then it rots out some of the wood behind it. So it can be pretty problematic. If it's stucco over concrete block or brick, it's usually not as much of an issue, but it's when it's over wood frame, doesn't matter the type of stucco. What more so matters is how it was applied. And a repair like this could actually be, I've seen anywhere from $15,000 on up to $100,000 or more, depending on how much of the house has stucco and how much of it has damage. So you want to talk to your inspector about whether or not an invasive stucco test is recommended and warranted. And because the test itself is a little bit expensive, I usually recommend that sellers do the test prior to listing the property, just to kind of eliminate one of those potential buyer concerns, but it is also something that can be done as part of the purchase process and then negotiated if there's found to be something wrong or defective with the way the stucco was applied. So not something to necessarily be automatically scared off about, but definitely something you want to look into and ask questions. And the last issue I'll talk about actually consists of a few different items that can sometimes stand in the way of buyers getting homeowners insurance, either getting coverage at all or coverage at a reasonable price. So some of these things would be, and we do commonly see them in our area, would be knob and tube electrical wiring or aluminum wiring. Older roofs sometimes could be an issue, and underground oil tanks. So sometimes insurance companies, when they see these factors crop up, they may not want to insure, or they may charge a higher rate for that. So that can tend to be problematic. So if you have questions about that, you always want to check the seller's disclosure before moving forward, making an offer, whether it's in Pennsylvania or Delaware, and talk to your realtor about that. Find out if these are concerns and what you need to do to try to correct them before you get so far into the process that it becomes even more problematic and time-consuming for everyone involved. So lots of issues can come up, right? But there's steps we can take to try to minimize those and try to address as many as possible right up front before we get too far into the process. If you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in the Delaware Valley area, I specialize in Delaware County, Chester County, and Newcastle County, and I would love to help. My contact information is below. Thank you so much for watching.